Okay guys, this is the Angryprepper. So today's video, we're going to talk about, is there a possible attack coming to New York City? Kathy Hochul, just a couple of days before the car incident on the Rainbow Bridge, where the driver was trying to reenact a scene from Dukes of Hazzard, apparently, wind up bursting into flames. Now initially when that happened, everybody ran out and said it was a terror attack. And according to a couple eyewitnesses, they said they saw explosive devices in the car. Now, when you look at the car again, looking in the video, there wasn't a lot of room for that kind of device to be in there. Anyway, so that happens. Everybody flips out and they think terror attack. And then it winds up just being a high-speed chase or a guy speeding, and it wind up turning into the incident that it turned into. But prior to that, Kathy Hochul said because of the increased violence in Gaza, that there is increased chatter of a possible attack here in New York City. Now again, do I think something's going to happen? Eventually something's going to happen. But the way they word a lot of these possible attacks, including YouTubers on other channels, who gives a shit? If it happens, we're going to react accordingly, guys. Again, we're not going to turn into the bitch nigga network and start crying and carrying on and oh my God, and enough. If there isn't a possible attack, the only thing we can do is be ready for it. The only thing we can do is, if and when it pops off, jump into action. Now, for a lot of you guys that live outside of the city, you're probably going to not worry about much unless you're in the city and it happens and it shuts the city down. Now you're scrambling or struggling to get back home, which is always an option. Is why you should have a backup plan to get home. Don't rely on the city systems, and I know a lot of you still do. You should have some kind of secondary means to get home. Whatever that is, that's hitching a ride, having somebody come and pick you up, having an e-bike stored in a storage area at your job, just in case the shit pops off. Keep the batteries disconnected from the e-bike or whatever vehicle you're going to use so that it's not draining it out while it's in there. And keep the e-bike at your desk or somewhere where it's not going to also start a fire. Anyway, you should have a backup plan to get home. But with Kathy Hochul saying that, and saying that the chatter has increased, the FBI director had also stated that as well about a month ago, that the chatter of an attack in the United States was increasing as well. Again, if an attack happens in the United States, if an attack happens in New York City, who fucking cares? The only thing that matters is that you're ready for it if and when it pops off. To sit there, guys, and watch all these videos about how there's an impossible attack and start getting scared with the guy or girl telling you the fucking story, how it's going to happen, is bullshit. This is not why we prepare. We don't prepare to become fucking, bitch-ass niggas. We don't do that. That's not why we prepare. We prepare so when it happens, we go, aha, I got this. And then you spring into action. Either you help or you don't. Either you bug out or you stay and help, right? But the whole getting scared, getting anxiety, getting all worked up for what? For what? It makes no fucking sense. When that shit happened in the Rainbow Bridge, I was like, all right, let's see where this goes. And then I did a couple shorts rather to update people on what was going on. That's it. There is no need to be scared. Now listen, unless something crazy happens, like a small tactical nuke device goes off in the city, outside of that, there's nothing to be scared of, guys. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen on a small enough scale that we can handle it. Whether it's a Mumbai-style attack, which would actually be bad if that was to happen, where you have dudes spread out throughout the city attacking various locations in the city. That's the Mumbai-style attack. That's the attack that happened in, was it India or Jakarta or something like that, or somewhere overseas it happened. And that's what NYPD has been worried about for a long time. If that does happen, that is going to create a problem, but nonetheless, it's going to be extinguished fairly fast. Again, it doesn't make sense to get scared about any of this shit going on. Who fucking cares? This is why we prepare, so that we're ready. You don't worry about getting in your car every day and worry about getting into an accident, right? You don't get in your car every day, go, oh my God, am I going to get in an accident today? No, nobody fucking does that, right? So why would you do that as a prepper? If you are properly prepared, you have nothing to fear. That's what it comes down to. And listen. You can listen to all the channels about how there's a possible attack here, how's an impossible attack there. That's fine. Again, take that information, whoever's from, put it in the back of your head. Now, a lot of this information is just wrong. And maybe they're doing it for clout. Maybe they're doing it for more views so they can get more money. Maybe that's so. But still, you can put it in the back of your head. And you got to be careful, guys. I say this not to break other channels' balls, but be careful of where you get your information from, because, guys, a lot of channels are starting to parrot that something could happen and that you need to be scared kind of deal, or you need to be worried, or you need to be... Don't. Live your fucking life. Walk through life accordingly. A lot of us are going to report what we think might happen, and you know who those channels are. And then you got other channels telling you to fucking, shit bricks. For what? It doesn't matter what fucking happens next, guys. Just be ready. There's nothing we can do to stop whatever is coming next. There's nothing we can do. The only thing we can do is be ready and react accordingly. I have to say this because when I get emails all the time, like, what do you think about this? I don't think anything of it. I don't care. I can care fucking less. Now, yes, for video purposes, I'm going to make videos and pretty much give you my opinion on what I think of the situation. Whatever attack happens, guys, in my opinion, fuck it. It is what it is. We'll be ready. When the shit pops off, that's where we stand. We stand our ground. We're not going to fucking run. We're not going to start crying. We're not going to curl up into a ball and call mommy. We're not doing any of that shit. We're just going to fucking look at the situation, evaluate the situation, and then see where we go from there. The worst thing to do, guys, is to snap and then start reacting. Oh my God, this shit is on. No, it's not fucking on. Relax. It's not on yet. You'll know when it's fucking on. And that incident, when I saw it in Rainbow Bridge, initially after I made the first video, I looked at the explosion. I'm going, well, that was too small to be anything significant, but too big to be a car. I have seen a couple cars explode in such a way, and because it was speeding and the car went up in flames the way it did, it's why it looked the way it did. It looked bigger than it should have been. Anyway, nonetheless, a lot of people, including myself, think they also changed the narrative. I mean, there could have been a narrative change, but again, looking at the video again from a couple of angles, I'm like, yeah, it was the car. I mean, I don't know why they went with the terror thing in the beginning, like right out of the gates, without even investigating. That was the crazy shit. And again, that lends to jumping to conclusions, whether that's a prepper channel or a legitimate agency from New York City, or New York State rather, sorry, and the FBI getting involved and stating 2 hours in, oh, it was a terror attack. Oh, yes, it was. And then an hour after that going, well, it wasn't. It was just two assholes driving really fast, and, that's where it went. I'm not going to look at this situation and think anything different of it. Initially, yesterday, I was like, oh, they're changing the narrative. But after watching a couple angles, I'm like, all right, it could be. It could be. Why were those two guys racing? A lot of that information is going to come out within the next couple of days, because apparently they were obliterated. So, and I don't know if they found the license plate, the registry of the car, anything like that. I don't know anything other than what happened. Again, guys, even if that was a real situation, assess it. Look at what's happening, look what's going on, and then react from there. And react subtly. Don't jump out of your fucking chair, flip the table. Oh my God, we got to get out of here. Don't do that. React accordingly. This is why we prepare. And we're preparing mentally, guys, because I promise you, whatever big event happens next, you're going to need to be ready for, mentally ready for, to handle. As simple as that. So moving forward, guys, there's probably going to be some interesting shit happening next year. And it's election year too. Some really interesting shit's going to happen next year. We are not going to react like bitches. We're going to handle it accordingly. I have to say this again and over, because people are going to panic. Fucking don't. Unless it lands on your doorstep, there's no need to panic. And even then, evaluate the situation and then react accordingly. All right, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching.